Good morning, everybody. First Warn 5 Meteorologist Melissa Meeder here. It is 2:39 a.m. on our Friday morning, and we are seeing heavy rain, thunderstorm activity, and flash flood warnings across the area this morning. We're going to kind of take a look at radar, track the rain, track the heavy rain, and take a look at all those flash flood warnings that we have in place at this time. So here's a look at our radar right now. A lot going on it, generally confined to along the I-70 corridor up towards St. Joseph and down towards Garden City at this point. So we're going to kind of go place by place and talk about the flash flood warnings that we have in place right now. There is a new one that just has been issued for parts of the metro that does include Clay, Jackson, Johnson, Wyandotte counties. That goes until 8:30 this morning. So we have several more hours on this flash flood warning. As you can see, as we take a closer look inside, very heavy rainfall is falling from places like Lee Summit over towards Excelsior Springs, mainly on the eastern side of the 435 loop and along the I-35 corridor is kind of the splitting point at this time. So I'm going to turn off our lightning so we can get a closer look at actual areas seeing very heavy rainfall. Looks like very heavy rainfall falling towards Belton, Independence, over towards Liberty, Excelsior Springs, Buckner, Richmond. If you are just joining us and you are living in those areas, you're probably waking up to very heavy rainfall, torrential rainfall at this point. Now, we also have other places that are in flash flood warning, and therefore we're going to kind of go around and take a look at those. Now, if we go to our northeast, we do have a flash flood warning that is in effect until 8:30 as well on our Friday morning. That is for Leavenworth County, Easton, Leavenworth. This is including you in this warning. As we take a closer look out towards our east, we also have two very large areas of flash flood warnings. That includes Carroll, Sheridan, Lafayette, Saline counties. That does include Hardin, Carrollton, Marshall, Brunswick, Salisbury, over towards even out of our area towards Fayette, over towards Higginsville, which is in our area, Oak Grove, along the I-70 corridor and generally north. And then if you live south of the I-70 corridor, also in a flash flood warning as well. It looks like they expired that one actually just recently, so that's good news. But we do have those three main flash flood warnings at this point. There's the one that is for the metro that will continue until 8:30 this morning. So very heavy rainfall is falling at this point. Let's take a look at kind of what's happening in and around the metro at this time. So heavy rain still falling in Leavenworth, lightning as well, but the bulk of the heaviest rain right now is situated generally along the I-35 corridor going through the 435 loop. So as you can see, heavy rain happening along that and also along kind of the southeastern edge of that. That's towards Raymore. Very heavy rainfall, lightning. This continues to stretch all the way up towards Richmond and Excelsior Springs. So that's where the bulk of the heaviest rainfall is at this point. Mainly, I would say mainly east of the state line. So this is mainly in Missouri at this point. However, starting to see a little bit of back building right now, especially back towards Spring Hill. Still seeing some lightning, some heavy rainfall back there. So that is what we have this morning. We have that flash flood warning that continues until 8:30, and that is for the general southeastern edge of the 435 loop. That does include places like Jackson, Clay County. So please keep that in mind. Now, if you look up towards the northern areas, not as much lightning, but we're still seeing heavy rainfall out there, especially towards Smithville, all the way stretching back to Leavenworth, and then back towards places like Oskaloosa as well. But as you can see, we've got this red box. It's kind of hard to see these flash flood warnings here on our radar with the radar overlaid. So let's kind of take a look at a map that does not have the overlays on it right now. So here's a look. We do have other areas that do have flood warnings, not flash flood warnings. So we have that flash flood warning that's in Leavenworth. This is going to be a flood warning. That's for Jefferson County. That goes until 5:30 this morning. It says urban and small creeks Small stream flooding caused by excessive rainfall is expected. That continues until 5:30 a.m. So, seeing heavy rain off towards our east, we have that flash flood warning for portions of Leavenworth, and then Jefferson County has the flood warning until 5:30. If we look off towards the east, then towards that larger flash flood warning. Oh, I think we lost our box here. Let's try this again. Uh-oh. There we go. For Carroll, Lafayette, Ray, Saline counties, that goes until 6 a.m. this morning. Now, as you can see, there are smaller green boxes in there. That is flood warnings as well. Those are going to be for some creeks and streams. So if you are in a flash flood warning for this morning and really through the rest of the morning and into the early afternoon today, avoid your creeks, avoid your streams, avoid your rivers, because they could see a rise in water level as well and could be flooding, could experience minor flooding. So those are really what those green boxes in there are for, is other flood warnings. If we click around to here, that is going to be a let's try it again. I'm going to have to turn off this box. We'll come back to that in just a second. Let's go to the one down towards our southeast, and then I will turn off those boxes so we can access that. So we also have a flood advisory. That's going to be for Bates, Cass, Lynn, Miami counties. That goes until 4:15 this morning. So I do want to note, too, that across the entirety of our area, besides our far southern counties, we have a flood watch that goes for the metro until 10 a.m. For places like our southeast, like Ottawa, that will go until 1 a.m. on Saturday. And then the northern areas, that will go until 4 a.m. on Saturday. So we are going to have several more hours of very heavy rainfall possible. Now, the heaviest rainfall looks to be at this point confining itself generally along the eastern part of the metro and along our northern kind of part of the metro as well. The top of the 435 loop, the northern end, over towards the corridor from the 435 loop and the I-35 corridor. So kind of in that realm. Very heavy rainfall is falling. Let's get a check of our radar estimated precipitation here and take a look around. I know that we have already seen our record from yesterday. Our daily record rainfall was 2.35 inches. We did not beat that, but we tied it yesterday. So we have already had 2.35 inches here over the last 24 hours, but this is going to give us a better kind of idea of how much rainfall that we have seen here. And as you can see, the place that has that larger flash flood warning at this point, you can see that darker reds, pinks in there, oranges. And if we take a closer look at how much rain has fallen here, nearly 8.5 inches in this corridor, 6.2 inches just near Richmond, 5.8 inches, and 4.7 inches. So if we take a look out over towards Leavenworth County as well, this just updated right now too. Looks like 5.2 inches have fallen. This is our radar estimated precipitation here. And in the highest pockets, it looks like probably 5 to 6 inches have fallen. If you live out towards Marshall, Richmond, generally north of the I-70 corridor, just east of the metro, you may have seen pockets of even 8.5 inches, 6 to 8.5 inches at this point. If we take a closer look and zoom in, well, let's go. Yeah. Okay. So if you're just east towards Waverly, we got this brighter pink. That's likely a band of 8 to 9 inches of rain. This is our radar estimated precipitation. 7 inches of rain just towards the south, or I should say the northeast of Wellington. And then north of Buckner towards Excelsior Springs, between probably 5 to about 7 inches of rain may have fallen in your area. If you look down towards the the southwest, that is where we are starting to see more of that heavy rainfall setting up. I think this is a good job of showing really where that heavy rainfall has fallen so far in the metro. There's that I-35 corridor And then there's more of the yellows and greens on the other side of that. So let's take a look. In Belton, looks like around possibly about 4.5 to 5 inches have fallen. Just north of Lee Summit, around 4 inches have fallen, 4 to 5 inches. And then, of course, heaviest rain right now has been towards the northeast, Excelsior Springs, Buckner at this point. Between about 5 to, I would probably say, about 7 inches. So if you're just joining us right now, good morning. It is about 2:49 on our Friday morning. We have heavy rainfall setting up across the metro right now. We have a flash flood warning that is in effect for some parts of our metro right now. There are 3 large flash flood warnings that are on our radar at this point. The first one is going to be the one that is here in the metro, and that will go for several more hours. That will go until 8:30 this morning. I'm going to click on our query here so we can get that pulled up. So that will be for Clay, Jackson, Johnson, Wyandotte counties. It's hard to see the outline of that warning, so we'll kind of take that off here in a couple minutes, but I want to diagnose radar for us at this point. So heavy rainfall is falling generally anywhere from, and I'm hearing the heavy rainfall in here in the studio too. We're in Roland Park. We're just on the edge of this kind of heavier band of rain that is setting up. Let me take the lightning off so we can see where the heaviest rain is. We'll zoom in here. Okay. Heaviest rain right now stretching from Belton all the way up the 49 corridor over towards Liberty, Excelsior Springs, Buckner, Independence, Lee Summit, seeing very heavy rain at this point. Looks like we have seen anywhere between about 4 to 6 inches fall over the last kind of 12 to 24 hours here in those areas, causing potential and that potential for that flash flooding. The flash flood warning continues until 8:30 this morning. So we have several more hours of the potential to see heavy rainfall here as we go. You know, it's only 3 o'clock this morning, so we have several more hours to see the chance for heavy rainfall. Now, we are not included in a flash flood warning for our northern areas. That does include places like Smithville over towards Parkville. Leavenworth is included in a flash flood warning. We'll actually get to that in just a second, but we're still seeing that heavy rain. Some more of that heavy rain kind of filtering out towards the northern part of the I-70 corridor and up to the 435 loop. So Smithville to Gladstone to Parkville, and now in the northern portions of Kansas City, seeing that heavy rainfall at this point. However, if you live in Parkville, Gladstone, Smithville, Kearney, Platte City, you are not included in a flash flood warning at this time. However, very heavy rainfall is falling. If you look towards our east, we do have a flash flood warning that continues until 8:30 as well, and that is going to be for Leavenworth County. This does include Easton. This does include Leavenworth. So heavy rainfall is going to be possible there as well. Keep in mind that when we say, flash flooding, we could see flooding of urban areas quickly, streams, things like that. So please be very careful, especially even, several hours from now when we're, maybe you go back to sleep or when you're getting ready for work as we get closer to like 6, 7, 8 o'clock this morning. You need to be very careful on the roadways. Do not drive into any flooded water on the roadways. Do not walk into any flooded water. Just remember to turn around, go a different way, and get to higher ground in the event of that. So please be very careful this morning commute because it's likely going to be messy as we're still going to see the chance for rain and storms, heavy rainfall moving through the area. We will eventually maybe see a little bit of a break once we get to about noon today before we see scattered chances for rain and storms build back in for this evening. So we have still a longer, several more hours ahead of us here of heavy rainfall. I want to go off towards our east. I'm going to zoom out a little bit more so we can see the third flash flood warning at this point. That's for Carrollton, Sheridan, Lafayette, Saline counties. As you can see, rain is not falling as hard there. However, they have seen repetitive rain here over the last several hours. This flash flood warning will go until 6 a.m. Once again, that's for Carrollton, Sheridan, Lafayette, and Saline counties. So very heavy rainfall has fallen here across the area. There are also, especially in this flash flood warning for Carrollton, Sheridan, Lafayette, Saline counties, embedded within this, there are flood warnings for your rivers, your creeks, and some of your streams. So please be careful. Do not go near the streams, the creeks, or any kind of waterway as we go through this entire time span of even past 6 a.m. because the water could be flooding, minor flooding could be happening. So please make sure that even if you are driving to work or you're walking somewhere and you come across a stream and there's some water there, do not walk through it. Just turn around and go a different way. A reminder that we all have a flood watch as we go through the day today. Many of us, especially towards our north and our southwest, have that flood watch until Saturday morning, but along the metro, that's until 10 a.m. Here's a look at the amount of rainfall, radar estimated rainfall that we have seen. As you can see, I mentioned that mainly that larger area, Saline, Carrollton, Lafayette counties, that is where we are seeing we have seen the heaviest rainfall so far. They have had hours of rainfall at this point, and even if we take a closer look, we're looking anywhere between probably about 7 to about 8.5 inches. If we take a look at our radar estimated, Carrollton over towards Waverly, Higginsville, looks like that's where the heaviest rain has fallen at this point, as well as over towards the kind of northeastern edge of that, between about 8 to probably 9 inches have fallen there. If we go up towards just north of Carrollton, still seeing areas of 3 to 4 inches of rain that have fallen. So this kind of bright spot that we're seeing here ranges 4 to even 9 inches of rain that we've seen. If we move over towards the east, we start to see, some brighter spots picking up as well on the northeastern side of the 435 loop. As you can see, Richmond, Buckner, Excelsior Springs, kind of on the edge of Excelsior Springs, seeing some heavy rain as well. How much possibly could we have seen so far? Looks like probably between about 4 and 6 inches. Just around Excelsior Springs, looks like around 5 inches of rain. So very heavy rainfall is falling. And just a reminder that we have seen in this it will be now 9 days. I'm not going to count today's rainfall because the event's not over yet and each place has seen different amounts. But we have seen anywhere between 5, closer to half a foot to nearly a foot of rain here in the last 8 days or so. It will be 9 days today. So we are so saturated. Our ground is so saturated. The rain may slightly absorb into the ground, but most of it's likely going to be running off due to the amount of saturation that we have in our ground at this point. So that's why this flash flooding that we're seeing and the heavy rainfall that we're seeing is causing flash flooding due to the sheer amount of rain we have already gotten, and then the sheer amount of more rain, anywhere between 1 to 4 inches. Widespread rain has likely fallen across the area at this point. There's those isolated pockets that are more than that. The highest that I've seen so far is likely around 9-ish inches or so of rainfall here. Leavenworth County also has a flash flood warning. If you're looking towards Easton, if you live in Easton, you've likely seen very heavy rain at this point, looking like anywhere between probably 6 to 8 inches or so of rainfall, especially in this kind of orange band that we've got going on. So very heavy rainfall has fallen. If we take a click towards kind of Platte City, over towards the northern part of the 435 loop, looks like 4 to 5 inches have fallen or so. So we have seen very heavy rainfall, and we're going to continue to see rain continue to fall here over the next couple of hours. Let's take a wider look at radar once again. What you see, that lighter green, I know it's a little bit hard to see. Usually this time of night or this time of day, we get a lot of ground clutter. Let me turn this off so you can see what I'm talking about the ground clutter here. Because we are seeing widespread rain. However, here you go. So here's kind of our cleaner radar. It takes snapshots and pulls in other radars from other places, but the radar that I have been showing is the one that we have here in Pleasant Hill. So as you could see, generally along the I-70 corridor is where we're seeing the bulk of this rain, and right now the heaviest rain moving through the metro. I'm going to turn it back to our sweeping radar, so we're going to add this kind of green back on to the bottom. And this is where we're seeing the heaviest rain. A lot of lightning. If you're just joining us and you live anywhere in the 435 loop, especially on our northern and eastern side, you're likely waking up to very heavy rainfall at this point and a lot of lightning. We do have a flash flood warning that goes until 8:30. That does include places like Loch Lloyd, Lee Summit, Leawood, over towards Oak Grove, up towards Excelsior Springs, Independence. That does include you. Now, it looks like the heaviest part of this rain kind of setting up just south of Loch Lloyd. You can see a lot of lightning there right now. But it seems to me that here over the last couple of scans, we're not seeing as much dark red in here. Maybe let me turn off the lightning so we can see a little bit better. Okay, so as you can see, we saw those darker reds down towards Loch Lloyd. Still seeing that, but looks like we're not seeing as much darker reds in this, especially as it heads up towards the northeast, towards Excelsior Springs, to the I-70 corridor, over towards Richmond. So still heavy rainfall is falling, just not likely as heavy as it once was. So if we take a closer look, Independence, over towards Liberty, Raytown, Missouri City, over towards the northern side of Buckner, Blue Springs, Raytown, Lee Summit, Lake Lotawana included in this. So that heavy rain right now mainly confined to the eastern side of the 435 loop, generally east of the state line, so in Missouri. We're getting a new scan in here. Still looks like we're seeing heavy rainfall out there. However, if you're up towards Gladstone, Parkville, Platte City, there are pockets of very heavy rainfall that are falling. But of course, towards Leavenworth County, Easton, we do have that flash flood warning for Leavenworth County that continues until 8:30. So a lot of rain falling across the area over the last 24 hours or so. Here's a look at how much rain that we have seen at some locations. This does include places like KCI. This is going to be over the last 24 hours. Now, these don't update every minute, every second. So these update periodically throughout probably about once an hour or so, especially for the Kansas City airport. So it looks like 2.8 inches have been reported. These are reports from airports and other ASOS stations across the area. So people are going out and reading them, or a device is reading them. 2.80 inches here in Kansas City. I think overall, this is underestimating what we have seen. These are just very select areas that are being picked up for that rain total. Because as we can see, Richmond says 0.29 inches. We have seen a lot more reports, especially radar estimated precipitation way higher than that, several inches of rain. So not all of this is going to be correct. However, looks like towards Kansas City, around 2.8 inches, 1.2 inches around in Maryville, about 1.5 inches in St. Joseph, Warrensburg, just under 2 inches, around 1.5 inches in Odessa. So I think this is underestimating it, especially when we take a look at our estimated precipitation. As you can see, there's a bullseye over Richmond, over just north of the I-70 corridor, kind of along those county lines. As you can see, it's highlighted in that bright pink, that bright red. So that's where we have seen the heaviest rainfall. We're also seeing pockets of heavy rainfall starting to be simulated here on our radar estimated rain totals in areas of that flash flood warning that is on the eastern side of the metro, or the eastern side of the 435 loop. So it looks like Lee Summit, just north of Lee Summit, south of the I-70 corridor, looks like pockets of 8 inches are going to be possible, 8 to 9 probably. Belton around 5 to probably 6 inches have fallen. This heavy rain also is reducing there is some fog out there, especially towards our northern areas, but we are seeing that heavy rain reducing visibility here. That's going to be an issue as we continue through the rest of the morning and into the lunchtime hours. So radar across the area showing rain generally along the I-70 corridor and points just towards the north, towards St. Joseph. However, we're starting to see some back building back from Belton to Paola down to Lacine. Starting to see showers and storms start to bubble up. Those are going to be pockets of heavy rainfall as well. And these are moving. The last time I checked, and you know what? I'm going to check again. These are moving around 20 knots, which would be about 25 miles an hour or so. So they're not moving. They're moving slow. However, when we think about what happened last Thursday, so just a little bit over a week, those are moving a little bit slower. I am reading some information here from the National Weather Service. I've got the National Weather Service chat that's pulled up this morning to bring in any reports or any updates with these flash flood warnings or flooding warnings that we've got here. Okay, let's see. I'm reading. Okay, so it looks like for the flash flood warning here in the metro, let's zoom in on that. Let me turn radar off so we can see it. I'll turn our lightning off as well. Okay, so here is a look at this flash flood warning that we've got for the metro right now. That goes until 8:30. Cass, Jackson, Johnson, Miami counties are included in this. It looks like the expected rainfall rate could be 2 to 3 inches per hour. So very heavy rainfall is possible. So we could see an additional amount of maybe 1 to 2 inches in this area that have already fallen, which we have seen some high estimations come out of here. Of course, flash flooding of small creeks, streams, urban areas, highways, streets, underpasses, and poor drainage areas and low-lying areas. So please be very careful, especially, I know many people may not be out and about right now, but they will be here in the next several hours or so by the time we get to the morning commute. This flash flood warning does continue until 8:30 this morning. Let me turn back on radar, and I'll turn back on our lightning so we can see, but the radar for our area is right there in Pleasant Hill. You can see kind of circular in Pleasant Hill. So the radar may be not fully reflecting the heavier rainfall out there, especially towards Lee's Summit, because the radar beam is shooting a lot lower than it would be a lot higher. So it's not getting the full look at what would be the heavy rainfall or the thunderstorm at this point. So we're still, heavy rainfall is going to be possible, I think, once we get up towards places like our northern areas, Excelsior Springs, up towards the northern side of the 435 loop. Light to moderate rainfall is happening right now, continuing over towards Richmond. Now, we do have several other flash flood warnings that are in effect this morning. That continues for places like Leavenworth County, and we also have a flood warning as well in Jefferson County. So that flash flood warning in Leavenworth continues until 8:30. Our radar estimated precipitation putting maybe 5 to even 7 inches of rainfall that have fallen near Easton. Looks like Easton has seen the heaviest rain at this point so far this morning. And then we also have a flood advisory down towards our southern areas, Bates, Cass, Lynn, Miami counties. That goes until 4:15, so about another hour or so. And then we also have the flash flood warning that is for Saline County. It's kind of a larger flash flood warning from Carroll to Lafayette to Ray, Saline. That continues until 6 a.m. So once again, as we go back to radar, I'm going to take a wide look at this right now so we can see the heaviest rain that we are seeing right now, generally from Smithville through the metro, down towards Paola into Lacine, and over towards East and Leavenworth County. We are seeing not as heavy rainfall in that flash flood warning that includes Saline, Lafayette, Sheridan counties over towards the east. However, a lot of rainfall has fallen there over the last several hours. They have continued to see that flash flood warning over the last several hours. So any additional rainfall is not helping there, whether or not it is very heavy or it is moderate to heavy. So heaviest rain right now at this point, generally inside the metro. That rain also is reducing visibility, especially in the metro up towards Cameron. However, there are some areas of fog out there as well, mainly along our northern borders. So heavy rainfall. Let's take a look at our radar estimated precipitation here that we have seen. This is radar estimated, so we have not gotten any reports in. Usually we start to see reports trickle in as we go into about maybe 5, 6, 7 o'clock this morning. And then we start to get some local information from something called the CoCoRaHS. And that is picked up from local areas, people who have weather stations in their backyards and things like that who register. So we'll be able to get more of a local scale here as we go through the course of this morning. But this, of course, is an ongoing event and will continue to be over the next several hours. Now, once we go through this, I'm going to pull through forecast radar to show you what we can expect as we go through the rest of the morning, how this could pan out and continue to pan out, as well as how much additional rainfall we could see from here on out. Now, the models, I will tell you, are having a hard time picking up on which specific area could be seeing the heaviest rainfall. So that's still, those pockets of higher amounts of 7 to even 9 inches will still be possible. Those are harder to pinpoint. So we're kind of going to go through what to expect here over the course of the next several hours once we get through the 12-hour or kind of 24-hour rainfall totals here that we have seen so far. Let's zoom in and take a closer look here. Heaviest rain so far has generally been along just north of the I-70 corridor. As you can see, pink, bright pink, purple, and red tones from Carrollton to Higginsville to Hardin to just east of Excelsior Springs and Sibley. So that is where the most rain has likely fallen at this point. These are radar estimated precipitation totals, rainfall totals. We do not have any reports from these areas yet. I think those are going to be coming here in the next couple of hours or so. But on the high end, we're talking in this band of bright pink, probably 8 to 9 inches of rain, which is a lot of rainfall. We have seen so much rainfall here over the last 12 hours, but also we have seen so much rainfall over the last 9 days as well. If we look just north towards Marshall, looks like around 6 inches or so. Down towards the Sweet Springs area, just west of Sweet Springs, around maybe 5 to 6 inches. And then just south of Hardin, looks like around 4 to 5 or maybe 4.5 to 5.5 inches. But this swath that we see from Excelsior, just east of Excelsior Springs, Sibley, Hardin to Higginsville to Carrollton, down towards Blackburn, probably 5 to 9 inches of rain have fallen there. That is very isolated high amounts. If we look over towards Sibley, just north of Sibley, around 8.5 to probably 9 inches or so. This whole area is probably around 8 to 9 inches here, with pockets of around it probably 5. Now, as we move into the metro, we're starting to see pockets of that heavier rainfall. Now, Excelsior Springs, just south of Excelsior Springs, Buckner, also including in the metro here, they are also a part of the flash flood warning that is in place. But looks like maybe 7 to 8 inches just south of Buckner in Jackson County, So in northern Jackson County, probably 5 to 6 inches here towards Independence. And then if you look just south of the I-70 corridor, north of Lee Summit, there's a pocket of that heavier rain there. That's around 6.5 to 7 inches. I mean, even in this green color, we're between probably 2 to 4. 2 to 4 inches. This yellow color likely between probably about 3 to 5. And then once we start to get to these orange colors, maybe 5 to 7 or so. So very heavy rainfall falling on the eastern side of the 435 loop at this point. In Independence, looks like around 5 inches of rain. We then move over and head up to our northern areas. Let's see. Because Smithville over towards Liberty, as well as Weatherby Lake, seeing some heavy rainfall as well right now. Towards Platte City, probably around 3 to 4 inches have fallen. Pockets of maybe 5 to 6 are embedded within that as well. Along the northern port of the 435 loop, up towards Plattsburgh, around 5 inches. We continue to see the flash flood warning. That is going to be for Leavenworth County. But as you can see, Leavenworth County, Easton has seen the most rain. Or likely has seen the most rain at this point. Between probably 7 to maybe 9 inches. Pockets of 9 inches in there probably can't be ruled out. Looks like 7.5 to 8 inches in there. Okay. If you're just joining us this morning, it is 3:15. It's 3:15 on our Friday morning. I'm going to take a quick drink of water here. We have 3 flash flood warnings out there right now. One does include the metro, like places like Jackson County up towards Clay County, as well as Leavenworth County, and then over towards our east. This is a wide picture of radar at this point. The heaviest rain looks to be falling mainly in the 435 loop and eastward. We're also seeing heavy rain towards Leavenworth County, Easton, over towards the northern parts of Clay County as well. So we are going to continue to see heavy rainfall here over the next several hours. The flash flood warnings for Leavenworth County, that continues until 8:30 this morning, as well as the flash flood warning for Cass, Clay, Jackson, Johnson counties. That goes until 8:30 this morning as well. So we are going to continue to see some heavy rain here over the next several hours. And we will continue to see those flash flood warnings over the next several hours as well. We do have a flash flood warning that's off towards the east. That includes Richmond, places like Marshall, Brunswick. Let me take a look here and pull this box up so you can see. Carroll, Lafayette, Ray, Saline counties are included in this. That goes until 6 a.m. this morning. Very heavy rainfall is falling. Radar estimated precipitation isolated totals are up to anywhere between 7 to 9 inches of rain, especially out towards Richmond, Excelsior Springs, over towards our kind of eastern flash flood warning. That is due to this flash flood warning in the east that continues until 6 a.m. They have been seeing ongoing rain here over the last several hours. So this will continue. The heavy rain will continue into our morning commute. And you're going to need to make sure you need to be very careful here, especially if you are traveling in any place that has a flash flood warning. I would, avoid creeks and streams and rivers. Heavy rainfall has fallen here and will continue to do so. And remember to turn around if you encounter any standing water on roadways, running water near creeks and streams. Please make sure to be very careful. Now, I want to take a look here. Looks like our tower cam. You can see the reduced visibility out there. That's going to be from that heavy rainfall that we're seeing right now at this point. So reduced visibility, heavy rainfall, likely seeing some flooding, ponding on the roadways. As we go through this morning, we will be on KCTV5 this morning starting at 4:30, but we will be monitoring creeks and the streams in the local areas and things like that, because we have seen so much rain here over the last several days, and we are going to continue to see rain as we go through this morning. Here's a look at that radar again. Very heavy rainfall falling at this point, and will continue to do so. Now, it looks like if we zoom in, we are starting to see some of that heavier rain maybe lose a little bit of its steam and its widespreadness. Now, looks like we are seeing it break up a little bit. It was one kind of large area of heavy rain. I'm going to turn off the lightning in this flash flood warning. It looks like we're starting to see some pockets of some lighter rain mixed in, but this is not looking as heavy as it once did. Nonetheless, it's still heavy rainfall, especially when we see those pockets of that red and orange color in there. So heavy rain, Liberty over to Excelsior Springs, Richmond as well. Here's that look as the radar is playing out here. I'm going to check to see if you guys have any questions or anything here. Some people are reporting no power at their house. I'm going to see if I can get on and take a look at any power outages. Bear with me as I pull this up here. Okay, so it looks like, I can't pull it up on our streaming screen here, but it looks like there's about 160 active outages right now and about 5,162 customers that are out of power. That would be on Evergy's website. So there are some power outages out there, specifically looking like power outages around the metro, especially where we are in that flash flood warning. There's been a lot of lightning, heavy rainfall coming down with that, so that most likely is going to be the cause of some of those power outages that are out there right now at this time. I'm also going to take a look at some of our gauges here. On some of our creeks. I did drive by Brush Creek this morning on my way to work, and I tried to see while I was driving. Okay, looks like Brush Creek is around, has risen maybe about 2 feet. So we're going to continue. Myself and meteorologist Mike Nico are going to be here all morning. Mike is going to be updating us on river levels, stream levels, things like that, and what we can see, especially in areas for that flash flood warning this morning. And also rainfall totals as they start to trickle in. My computer's loading. I'm trying to see if we've got any new updates here. If I can get this to load. looks like they are in the, let's go back to our warning map here. Okay, so looks like they're extending the time in what would be some of the flood warnings. And in these eastern counties, in Johnson, Pettis, Carroll counties, for some of the creeks and some of the streams in there. I'm trying to pull up the latest details here. Let's see. There we go. Let me try to turn off. It won't let me do 2 at a time. Okay, let's see. All right, here we go. So flood warning. That does include Carroll County. That is at Wakinda, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm sorry if I am not. Creek in Carrollton. From early this morning until the afternoon, minor flooding is occurring and moderate flooding is in the forecast. So if you are in this flash flood warning or any flash flood warning that's in the area at this point, I would continue to stay away from creeks and streams and rivers and things like that, as we could see minor to moderate flooding as we go through this morning. Another flood warning that we've got here, let's see, because it's going to say specific places or the specific rivers or streams or creeks. Okay, so Cooper, Saline County, this goes until Tuesday until around 6:30. And that's going to be for Blackwater River near Blue Lick. Minor flooding is forecasted. And then as we head east a little bit, for Ray County, that is Crooked River near Richmond, moderate flooding is forecasted. So that will continue all the way through Sunday. So once the rain and storm activity, the heavy rain has ended, these will continue to be in the flood warning. So continue to avoid those areas, those creeks, those rivers, and those streams here over the next couple of days, especially in our eastern areas. Radar right now showing that we're seeing that heavy rain continuing, generally looks like mainly north of the I-70 corridor and down towards Belton and down towards the south. We still have 3 flash flood warnings that are in effect. One does include the metro. We're talking about Jackson County, Missouri. It does include ports of Jackson County, Missouri, Johnson County, Kansas. That does include places like Clay County and up towards the northeast. That goes until 8:30. We do have a flash flood warning as well for Leavenworth County. That's until 8:30 this morning. And then off towards our east, which I'm blocking here at the moment. That includes places like Richmond, all the way over towards Marshall, Brunswick, Sheridan County on the back edge of that. That will go until 6 a.m. this morning. So heavy rain is going to be a possibility here, especially in our eastern areas. Richmond, that larger flash flood warning we've got till 6 a.m. They have seen repetitive rain here over the last several hours. There are pockets of 7 to 9 inches of rainfall estimated within that flash flood area, widespread of probably around 2 to 5 inches of rain have fallen across that area. So very heavy rain is falling, will continue to fall over the next couple of hours. Looks like we're starting to see more thunderstorm activity build in. As you can see, if we take a zoom in at this point, still talking about our flash flood warning towards the east. Higginsville, Odessa, starting to see some thunderstorm activity go up at this point. We see heavy rain from Excelsior Springs down to Lee Summit, and then starting to be down out of the flash flood warning towards Lewisburg, Drexel, stretching up into just the northern portions of that county. So as you can see, the heaviest part of the rain is moving out of the 435 loop right now and continuing to push out towards Excelsior Springs, Lee Summit, Lewisburg, and is heading generally towards the east northeast here. They've been moving around 20 knots, which is around about 25 miles an hour, give or take there, that conversion. Looks like some of them have picked up a little bit of speed. That storm that's down towards Lewisburg, that's moving probably around about 32, 35 miles an hour to the northeast. And then the activity that is currently in the flash flood warning towards Lee Summit, that's moving around about 27 miles per hour. So heavy rain continuing to fall out there. 3 flash flood warnings. We've got a flash flooding in Leavenworth that continues till 8:30. The flash flood warning that does include the metro, that continues until 8:30. And then the flash flood warning off towards our east for much of our eastern counties, that will continue until 6 a.m. this morning. We have seen very heavy pockets of rain, especially in that eastern flash flood warning. They have seen repetitive rain here over the last several hours, and we'll continue to have light to moderate rain move in through the next 3 to 4 hours or so. So as you can see, there are bright pinks in there. There are purples that are in there. We have seen radar estimations of around, oh, this is new, around 10 inches now. Just north of Waverly, 8 inches just south of Carrollton. Around 9 inches north of Higginsville. So very heavy rain, 8 to 10 inches, highlighted in that band of pink from Carrollton to Waverly down towards Higginsville. Now those areas in the orange just north of Higginsville, around 5 to 6 inches, still a lot of rainfall. And then in these pinks that are east of Richmond, looks like around 7 inches just north of Buckner in this pinker color, between about 6 to 8. And then looks like just north of Buckner, 10.6 inches from our radar estimations. If we move this now down towards the south to see pockets of where, of course, up towards Excelsior Springs, Buckner included in the flash flood warning that goes until 8:30. Seeing very heavy rainfall, but if we head down towards the south, Belton seeing pockets of very heavy rain as well. Looks like anywhere between probably 6 to 7 inches. North of Lee Summit, pockets of probably 6 to 7 inches as well. And then Independence, around 6 for a radar estimation. I mean, even in these areas of green, it's more widespread, probably 1 to 4. Once you head east of the metro, out towards places like, or I should say east of the 435 loop, places towards Bonner Springs, the lighter colors, maybe around 1/2 inch to 1 inch of rain. Even in some places on the western side of the 435 loop, haven't seen much, but there are pockets, there are more so pockets that have seen over 1 inch versus the not at this point. Weatherby Lake, around 2.5 to 3 inches. Let's head up to Leavenworth County. At Easton, so far, looks like to be the source of where the heaviest rain has fallen for the flash flood warning. Kind of the northern part of Leavenworth County. Looks like between 6 and probably 8 inches or so of rainfall have fallen. Even towards Leavenworth, likely around probably 3 to 5. And lesser amounts as you head towards Baser or Bonner Springs. If we zoom in even closer here into the 435 loop, even places like towards Arrowhead, probably 5 inches or so have been estimated. Up towards North Kansas City, around 2 to 3 inches have fallen. Near Westport, around 2.5. And along state line towards Mission Hills, around 2.2. So we're seeing very heavy rainfall out there. The heavy rainfall that has fallen and continues to fall is reducing visibility. So not only is there a lot of rain, it's hard to see. There's heavy rain coming down. There's likely going to be flooding, ponding on the roadways. Please make sure that you are not driving through or walking through any water that is on the roadways, on the sidewalks, especially if you do not know how deep it is. You cannot see the bottom, so please just turn around. Here's a look at some more information that we've got here on our rainfall totals. So this is select locations across the area that, while these are select locations, like the 2.8 inches reading, that is from the Kansas City airport. A lot of these are from the local or regional airports that are there. So this is not a representation of everything that has happened, clearly, because as I've been showing you, there's estimations of anywhere between 6 to 10 inches that have fallen. And that's mainly up towards our northeastern, or excuse me, along the eastern side of the I-70 corridor. But it looks like Warrensburg around 2 inches at that specific location, which is likely the local airport or a local measuring station. Over the next several hours, we will likely continue to see that zoomed by very quickly. I apologize for that. So here we are. What time is it? It's 3:35. We will continue to see the chance for rain, heavy pockets of rain as we go through the morning commute. And then once we get to about 9-10 a.m., that's when we start to see some lighter rain take over. And then this slowly lifts towards the north. However, we will see again later this evening the chance for rain and thunderstorm activity starting around dinner time. That's going to move in from the west and then continue to push off towards the east here. Pockets of heavy rain will be possible, and we also have the potential for those to be strong to severe as well. So here's a look at that Storm Prediction Center outlook. Heavy rainfall is going to be the primary threat for the activity that comes later this evening and into the overnight hours. Damaging winds will be possible, and we cannot rule out some isolated tornadoes. That looks like, or I should say an isolated tornado, and that looks mainly to be towards our Kansas counties. So that is what we're expecting here over the next several hours. I'm going to leave you with our radar here and take one quick break. I'm going to talk to my morning producer to get on the same page as we go on to the morning show here in about an hour or so. Okay, I am back. We've got to have one quick conversation here about our morning show, and meteorologist Mike Nico's in here. We're going to have a conversation about how we're going to tackle today. We're going to continue to bring you coverage here. Remember that flash flood warning will continue for parts of the metro until 8:30. The flash flood warning for Leavenworth County continues till 8:30, and the flash flood warning for places like Saline, Sheridan County in our eastern kind of side of our coverage area, that will go until 6 a.m. this morning. So I'm going to leave you here with our radar taking a look. Pockets of very heavy rainfall have been radar estimated up towards anywhere between about 7 to 10 inches of rain have fallen, especially towards Richmond, over towards Excelsior Springs as well. So we will continue our coverage here shortly, but we're going to take a quick break so we can have a quick discussion about how we are going to continue our coverage as we go through the rest of this morning.